Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the information overload and get you laser focused on what truly matters.
That's the goal.
And today, that focus is the story brand framework, those powerful ideas laid out in Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand.
Yeah, think of this as your shortcut, really, to understanding how to make your business message actually stick. The core insight, well, it's this. Your customer isn't just part of the story. They are the hero. And your brand, well, your brand is the trusted guide that helps them on their journey.
Exactly. It's a fundamental shift, isn't it? And over our time together, we're going to explore the 7 key elements of this framework.
7 key pieces.
Right. Our mission is to give you actionable knowledge, to make your message clear and compelling, so when you speak, your customers genuinely listen. We'll be covering becoming your customer's guide.
They're the hero.
Uncovering the real conflict they face.
Which is crucial.
Stepping into the role of trusted advisor, mapping out their path to success, issuing the right invitation, highlighting what's at stake, and finally, painting that picture of their ultimate victory.
That whole arc.
Let's jump right in with that first element, becoming your customer's guide, because they are absolutely the hero. This really flips how a lot of businesses think about their marketing, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. For years, the instinct has been, put your brand in the spotlight, talk about your achievements, your innovations.
Yeah, the look at me approach.
Exactly. But Story Brand brilliantly reframes this by saying, hold on, your customer is the one on the quest. Think of it like this. They're Luke Skywalker facing their challenges, and your brand is more like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The wise guide.
Offering wisdom and guidance, not trying to win the battle for them.
Okay, so we make the shift. We put the customer front and center in their own story. What are the, tangible benefits for a business that adopts this perspective?
Well, the impact can be pretty significant. Firstly, you'll see increased engagement. I mean, people are naturally most interested in their own lives, right? Their own goals.
Sure.
When your message positions them as the protagonist, it immediately captures their attention in a way that, self-centered promotion simply can't.
Right.
You also forge a much stronger connection. They feel understood, valued, when your narrative revolves around their aspirations and the obstacles they face.
That makes sense.
And crucially, it builds greater trust. You're not just selling at them. You're positioning yourself as a supportive ally, someone who genuinely gets what they're going through.
Like we're joining their team. Now, what if a business misses this fundamental point? What are the downsides of still trying to be the hero of, everyone else's story?
Well, the most immediate consequence is that your messaging can fall completely flat. Honestly, nothing. Pretty much. If you're constantly talking about your amazing features or your company history without tying it directly to how it benefits them, it's like shouting into the void. It also leads to a lack of relevance. Your message simply won't resonate if it doesn't address their specific desires and struggles.
So you're just noise.
Exactly. And ultimately, you're missing out on huge opportunities because you're not inviting them into a narrative where they see themselves playing the central important role.
So who's really good at this? Can you think of some well-known U.S. companies that consistently put their customers in that hero role in their marketing?
Absolutely. Take Apple, for instance. Their marketing rarely focuses on their innovation in a vacuum. Instead, it almost always centers on what you can create, achieve experience with their products.
Right. Think different was about the user.
Precisely. The tagline, there's an app for that, isn't about Apple's ingenuity. It's about the user finding a solution to their specific need. Nike, with their Just Do It campaign. Another powerful example. It's not about Nike being the best athletic brand. It's about empowering you to overcome your personal challenges. And consider Weight Watchers, now WW. Their entire program is framed around the individual's journey towards a healthier self, with WW as the support system, the guide.
Not the hero.
Not the hero achieving weight loss for them.
Those are great examples of subtly but powerfully shifting the focus. What about the flip side? Are there companies you see that often make the mistake of casting themselves as the hero?
Oh, we see this frequently, especially in certain sectors. Think about tech companies that just bombard you with technical specifications.
The spec wars.
Yeah, and intricate details about their product without ever clearly articulating how those features will actually improve the user's life or help them reach their goals. Or fitness brands that primarily feature, like celebrity endorsements or their own brand milestones, instead of showcasing the real, relatable transformations of everyday customers.
Right, the focus isn't relatable.
And you've probably encountered service providers whose websites are dominated by lengthy about About Us sections, detailing their company history, their internal processes,
I have definitely seen those.
without clearly addressing the specific needs and pain points of their potential clients. It's all about them, not the person they're trying to serve.
Right, the focus needs to be outward. So for someone listening right now, trying to apply this, what are some concrete first steps they can take to really make their customer the hero?
The most crucial step is to consciously shift your perspective in all your marketing communications. Really, just always frame your message around your customers' desires, their aspirations, the challenges they face.
Make them the main character.
Make them the central character whose ambitions your products or services help to fulfill. Review your website copy, your social media posts, even your sales conversations. Ask yourself, where are we talking about ourselves? And how can we reframe that to focus on our customer's journey?
Good question.
Use language that reflects their goals and their struggles. For example, instead of saying, our innovative software boasts a cutting-edge API, try something like, imagine effortlessly integrating our software with your existing tools, saving you valuable time and resources.
See how that immediately centers the benefit on them.
Exactly. It's about their experience, their desired outcome.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to the second key element, uncovering the real conflict. You mentioned it's about more than just external problems. Let's dig deeper into that.
Yeah, what's particularly insightful here is that while businesses often focus on the obvious, external problems their products or services solve, like needing a better project management tool or, a faster internet connection.
The surface stuff.
Right. Truly compelling stories, and therefore truly effective marketing, tap into much deeper levels of conflict. We're talking about the internal problems, the frustrations, the anxieties, the self-doubt that your customers grapple with.
The internal battle.
And even further, the philosophical problems. Their sense of how the world should be, the injustices they want to see righted.
Okay, so why is it so crucial for us to identify these deeper layers of conflict? What are the real advantages of understanding these more nuanced customer pain points?
Well, by addressing those internal problems, you create a much more profound resonance with your audience. You're not just offering a superficial fix, you're acknowledging their underlying fears and frustrations.
Which builds connection.
Exactly. It builds a much stronger emotional connection. When you clearly articulate the problems they face, including these often unspoken internal and philosophical struggles, your value proposition becomes incredibly clear and compelling.
You'll get it instantly.
They immediately understand that you not only solve a practical problem, but also understand their deeper needs and values. And finally, identifying a villain, the source of their problems, whether it's inefficiency, the fear of missing out, or sense of unfairness, creates a natural and engaging narrative that draws them in and positions your brand as the ally in their fight against that villain.
And on the flip side, what happens if we only scratch the surface? What are the consequences of only focusing on those easily identifiable external problems?
You'll likely end up with a weak hook. Your story just lacks the initial intrigue to really capture attention because you're not speaking to what's truly keeping them up at night.
No emotional pull.
Right. You also risk misaligning your solutions by focusing only on surface-level features and functionalities without understanding the underlying emotional drivers of your customers' needs.
Mismatched solution.
And crucially, if you don't highlight the negative consequences of their problems, especially those internal ones like stress or anxiety, they may not feel a real sense of urgency to find a solution. It just doesn't feel that important to them.
Oh, why now?
Exactly.
Can you give us some examples of U.S. companies that are particularly adept at tapping into these deeper levels of conflict?
Certainly. Think again about CarMax. Yes, they sell used cars, an external solution. But their real genius lies in addressing the internal problem, the fear and distrust associated with traditional used car dealerships. Through their transparent pricing and no-haggle approach, they're battling the villain of the shady car salesman.
Good one.
TurboTax is another excellent example. They're not just providing tax filing software, they're directly tackling the anxiety and confusion that many people feel around taxes. Their marketing often acknowledges that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Tax dread is real.
It is. And then you have a company like Patagonia, which connects with customers on a philosophical level by addressing the problem of environmental degradation. Their commitment to sustainability resonates with customers who share that concern, making the act of buying their products feel like, well, a small act of rebellion against that villain of environmental irresponsibility.
Interesting. And what about competitors who miss these deeper motivations? Where do they tend to go wrong?
Well, in the used car market, Dealerships that continue to rely on high-pressure sales tactics and a lack of transparency actually reinforce those customer fears instead of alleviating them.
Making it worse.
Yeah. With tax software, companies that overwhelm users with complex interfaces and jargon inadvertently increase their anxiety rather than simplifying the process. And in retail, companies that don't connect their products with a larger sense of purpose or address growing consumer concerns about, say, ethical sourcing and environmental impact are missing a significant opportunity to resonate on a deeper, more meaningful level.
They're not acknowledging the villains their customers care about.
Exactly.
So for our listeners, how do we actually go about uncovering these real, often unspoken conflicts that our customers are facing?
You need to go beyond the obvious questions. Don't just ask what their practical needs are. Delve into their frustrations, their fears, their aspirations. Conduct, in-depth customer interviews. Pay close attention to the language they use in reviews, in social media comments, in support tickets.
Listen carefully.
Look for the emotional drivers behind their stated needs. What are their biggest anxieties related to the problem you solve? What are their unfulfilled desires? What injustices do they rail against in your industry? Once you start to understand these deeper conflicts, you can then consciously address them in your marketing. Instead of just saying, we offer fast shipping, an e-commerce business could say, tired of waiting weeks for your online orders. We understand the frustration of delayed deliveries, which is why we offer lightning fast shipping. That speaks directly to an internal frustration.
Ah, that makes a huge difference in how the message lands. Okay, moving on to the third element. Stepping into the role of trusted advisor. This is about us, the brand, but in a very specific way, right? We're not the hero.
Precisely. Once you have a deep understanding of your hero's problems, your role shifts. Your brand needs to position itself not as another hero competing for the spotlight, but as their trusted guide.
The
Obi-Wan. Exactly. Think about it. When you're facing a challenge, you don't need someone to outshine you. You need someone with experience and understanding to help you navigate the obstacles. This requires a delicate but powerful combination of demonstrating both empathy and authority.
Okay, so let's break that down. What are the tangible benefits of successfully positioning ourselves as that empathetic and authoritative guide?
Well, it's the bedrock of building strong, lasting customer relationships. Empathy shows your audience that you truly understand their struggles, their hopes, their fears.
I getcha.
Right. This immediately builds rapport and makes them feel seen and heard. Authority, on the other hand, demonstrated through your expertise, your experience, your proven track record, provides them with the confidence that you actually have the ability to help them overcome their challenges.
I can help you.
Exactly. When you combine these two, I understand your problem with, and I know how to fix it, you establish genuine credibility. Sharing testimonials, case studies showcasing successful outcomes, relevant statistics, any awards or recognition you've received that further reinforces that you know what you're doing.
Proof points.
Ultimately, customers are far more likely to listen to and follow the guidance of someone they trust and respect. It paves the way for action.
And what are the potential pitfalls? What happens if we fail to strike that balance or don't effectively position ourselves as that trusted advisor?
You run several risks. You could inadvertently be seen as a competitor, especially if your marketing focuses too much on your own achievements and positions your brand as the ultimate hero.
Oops.
Subconsciously, customers might feel like you're vying for the same resources or recognition. Without clearly demonstrated authority, they may doubt your ability to truly solve their problems, even if you have a great solution.
Can they really do it?
Right. And perhaps most damagingly, a lack of empathy can make your brand seem cold, uncaring, and ultimately untrustworthy. You'll miss that crucial human connection that builds loyalty.
So who's doing this well? Can you point to some U.S. companies that effectively embody that role of empathetic authority?
Absolutely. Look at someone like Dave Ramsey in the financial space. He connects deeply with his audience by empathizing with their struggles with debt. Debt is dumb, as he famously says, showing he understands their frustration.
Yeah, he gets it.
At the same time, he has built immense authority through his years of experience, his best-selling books, his proven step-by-step financial strategies. The Mayo Clinic is another excellent example in healthcare. Their website and content consistently demonstrate both a deep understanding of patient concerns and an unparalleled level of medical expertise and research.
You feel both cared for.
And confident in their knowledge. Exactly. And consider Intuit QuickBooks for small businesses. They don't just offer accounting software. They provide a wealth of resources, support, and guidance specifically designed to help small business owners navigate the complexities of finance, positioning themselves as a knowledgeable partner in their journey to success.
The helpful partner.
Mm-hmm.
What about companies that stumble in this area? Where do they typically fall short in trying to be that guide?
Well, we often see financial advisors who use overly technical jargon and focus solely on their own investment strategies without taking the time to truly understand their clients' individual financial anxieties, goals, and levels of understanding.
Like all over their heads.
Yeah. In healthcare, a bedside manner that lacks compassion or communication, that doesn't clearly explain the provider's credentials, experience, and the rationale behind treatment plans can erode patient trust, even if the medical expertise is there.
Trust is key.
And in the tech world, software companies that offer incredibly complex solutions without providing adequate, accessible support or resources tailored to their less tech-savvy small business customers often fail to be seen as helpful guides, even if their software is powerful.
Leaving people stranded.
Pretty much.
So, for our listeners, what are some practical ways we can step into this role of trusted advisor for our own customers?
The key is to consciously and consistently communicate both understanding and expertise. Use empathetic language in your communications, show that you get what they're going through, acknowledge their pain point,
Feel their pain.
and then actively and clearly showcase your authority through tangible evidence. Share customer testimonials, case studies that demonstrate successful outcomes you've helped others achieve. Highlight relevant statistics that back up your claims. Clearly articulate your experience, your qualifications, any unique methodologies you employ.
Show your work.
Right. For instance, a marketing agency could say, "We understand the frustration of investing in marketing that doesn't deliver results. Our team of experienced strategists has a proven track record of helping businesses like yours increase their lead generation by an average of S% within Y months, and we'll work closely with you every step of the way." It's that blend of we get it and we can help.
That balance of empathy and proof is crucial. Okay, let's move on to the fourth element, mapping out their success. This is all about providing a clear path forward for our hero, right? No one wants to be lost on their quests.
Exactly. Your hero, now aware of their problems and looking to you as their trusted guide, needs a clear and well-defined plan. They need to understand the specific steps they need to take to engage with your brand, utilize your product or service, and ultimately achieve their desired outcome.
No guesswork.
Confusion is the absolute enemy here. It inevitably leads to hesitation, procrastination, and ultimately inaction.
So what are the tangible benefits for a business that provides this clear roadmap for their customers?
Well, a well-defined process immediately reduces friction and confusion. It removes the uncertainty associated with doing business with you, making it feel less risky and more approachable.
Lowers the barrier.
Totally.
Yeah.
This, in turn, significantly increases confidence. When customers understand the steps involved and know what to expect at each stage, they feel a greater sense of control and are much less likely to abandon the process due to feeling overwhelmed or uncertain.
They know what's coming.
And ultimately, a clear path forward drives engagement. It makes it much more likely that potential customers will take that crucial next step, whether it's making a purchase, signing up for a free trial, requesting a consultation, or simply taking the first step in your outline process.
And what are the consequences if we don't provide that clear plan? What happens when our customers are left feeling like they're wandering in the dark?
Well, if you don't provide clear guidance, customers can easily feel overwhelmed and unsure about how to proceed. This often leads to hesitation, analysis paralysis, and ultimately, inaction.
They just freeze.
Yeah. Potential customers may abandon the process altogether if they don't understand what's required of them, what the next steps are, or what the overall journey will look like. And even for those who do initially engage, a confusing or opaque process can lead to frustration, a negative overall experience with your brand,
Bad vibes.
and a higher likelihood of them dropping off before achieving success. You risk losing sales and damaging your reputation.
Are there some examples of U.S. companies that really excel at providing a clear and easy-to-follow path for their customers?
Absolutely. Think again about CarMax. Their entire value proposition revolves around a transparent and straightforward car buying process. Browse online. Get a no-haggle price, test drive, and purchase.
Simple steps.
It's clearly laid out and removes a lot of the traditional anxieties associated with buying a used car. Online retailers like Amazon are masters of this as well, providing clear and consistent steps for browsing products, adding them to your cart, going through the checkout process, tracking your delivery.
It's almost mindless.
In a good way. And in the software as a service world, companies often offer free trials coupled with well-designed onboarding processes that guide new users step by step through the key features and help them quickly realize the value of the product.
Holding your hand.
Exactly.
What about companies that stumble in this area? Where do they typically go wrong in terms of outlining a clear path?
Well, we often see businesses with incredibly complex or multi-step purchasing processes that lead to significant customer frustration and a high rate of shopping cart abandonment.
Too many hoops.
Yeah. Websites that lack clear calls to action or don't provide a simple, intuitive explanation of how to get started or what the next steps are. Also common culprits. And service providers who don't clearly outline their service delivery process, like what happens after you sign on, who will be involved, what are the key milestones. They can leave customers feeling unsure of what to expect and when, leading to anxiety and a lack of confidence.
Uncertainty breeds doubt.
It really does.
So for our listeners, what are some practical tips we can implement to make sure we're providing that clear path to success for our own customers?
The key is to clearly and concisely outline the steps involved in working with you or using your product or service. This could be as simple as a numbered list of benefits or, a concise 3-step process prominently displayed on your website.
Keep it simple.
For more complex offerings, consider creating a visual flowchart, maybe a detailed onboarding guide, or even a short introductory video that walks customers through the process. For service-based businesses, clearly articulate your service delivery process, perhaps as a discovery, strategy, implementation plan.
Make it visible.
The overarching goal is to remove any ambiguity, answer their unspoken questions about what happens next, and make it as easy as possible for your customers to understand how to engage with you and achieve their desired outcome. Clarity truly builds confidence and encourages action.
Clarity truly is key. Let's move on to the 5th element, issuing the right invitation. We've laid out the path. Now we need to encourage our hero to take that first step, right?
Exactly. Even with a crystal clear plan laid out before them, your hero often needs a gentle but firm nudge, a call to action. This is your explicit invitation for them to take the next logical step in their journey.
The CTA.
Right. And it's important to recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all approach here. There are direct calls to action like buy now, schedule a demo, contact us, which aim for immediate conversion.
Go for the sale.
And then there are transitional calls to action, like offering a valuable free ebook, a helpful guide, or access to a free trial in exchange for their email address. These build trust and provide value while nurturing potential customers who might not be ready for a direct purchase just yet.
Building the relationship first.
Precisely.
So what are the core benefits of having these clear and well-placed calls to action in our marketing and communications?
Well, clear calls to action directly influence behavior. They tell your customers exactly what you want them to do, eliminating any guesswork or uncertainty.
Tell them what to do.
This, in turn, significantly increases conversions, driving those desired outcomes, whether it's a product sale, a lead generated, or a piece of content downloaded.
Yeah.
And as we touched on, those transitional calls to action are invaluable for building relationships with potential customers. By offering something of value up front, you're not just asking for a sale, you're initiating a relationship based on trust and mutual benefit.
Value exchange.
Right.
And what happens if we drop the ball here? What are the consequences of having weak or non-existent calls to action?
You'll likely experience a significant number of missed opportunities. Interested customers might browse your website or read your content and be genuinely intrigued by what you offer. But if there's no clear indication of what they should do next,
They just drift away.
they'll often simply leave without taking any concrete action. This can lead to low engagement rates on your marketing materials and ultimately hinder your ability to move potential customers through your sales funnel, resulting in stagnant growth and lost revenue.
Leaving money on the table.
Big time.
Can you give us some examples of U.S. companies that use calls to action very effectively?
Absolutely. E-commerce websites are generally very adept at this, with prominent and action-oriented buttons like Add to Cart, Proceed to Checkout, Buy Now, strategically placed on product pages.
Can't miss them.
Content marketers frequently utilize transitional calls to action, offering valuable free resources like ebooks, white papers, webinars, templates, in exchange for an email address or contact info.
The lead magnet.
Exactly. And service-based businesses typically feature clear and compelling calls to action like schedule a free consultation, request a quote, or learn more on their websites to encourage direct engagement.
What about companies that don't do this well? What are some common mistakes they make when it comes to calls to action?
Well, a common mistake is having websites with cluttered layouts and unclear navigation where there's no single obvious focal point that directs the visitor towards a desired action.
Too much going on.
Yeah. Another frequent issue is having marketing materials that thoroughly explain the product or service but fail to explicitly tell the customer what they should do next. There's no clear "so what" or "what now."
Dead end.
And many businesses miss out on valuable lead nurturing opportunities by not offering any compelling free resources or valuable content in exchange for contact information, essentially neglecting those crucial transitional calls to action.
So for our listeners, what are some key things to keep in mind to make sure we're issuing the right invitations to our audience?
Make it incredibly obvious what you want your customers to do. Use clear, concise, and action-oriented language for your buttons, links, and evocable prompts. For direct calls to action, think strong verbs like buy, download, schedule, contact, get started.
Your correction verbs.
Ensure these calls to action are visually prominent and easy to find. For transitional calls to action, always offer genuine value in exchange for their information. For example, a real estate agent might have a prominent Find Your Dream Home button, direct CTA, and also offer a free guide to buying your first home, transitional CTA.
Offer both options.
Make it as easy and as enticing as possible for them to take that next step on their journey.
Excellent advice. Now let's delve into the sixth element, which taps into a really powerful aspect of human psychology, highlighting what's at stake. This is about showing our hero what they stand to lose if they don't act right.
That's precisely it. While people are certainly motivated by the potential for gain, they are often even more strongly motivated by the fear of loss aversion.
Loss aversion, right?
Your brand story should effectively highlight what your customers risk losing, what negative consequences they might face, or what opportunities they might miss out on if they don't engage with your brand and take advantage of your offering. This creates a sense of urgency and underscores the importance and relevance of your solution.
The what if you don't factor.
Exactly.
So what are the key benefits of clearly defining and communicating what's at stake for our customers?
Well, by clearly illustrating the potential negative consequences of inaction, you naturally increase the sense of urgency. Customers are more likely to take action sooner rather than later if they understand what they stand to lose by delaying.
Lights a fire under them.
It does. It also significantly heightens the perceived relevance of your offering. They understand precisely why your product or service is crucial in helping them avoid a negative outcome or mitigate potential risks.
Makes it essential.
And from a narrative perspective, defining the stakes adds weight and significance to your brand's role as the guide. You're not just offering a nice-to-have, you're providing a vital solution to a problem with real consequences.
And what happens if we neglect this? What are the potential downsides of not clearly articulating what our customers stand to lose?
Well, without a clear understanding of the potential downsides, customers may not feel a strong compulsion to act. There's no immediate pressure or compelling reason to prioritize your offering.
No urgency.
Your product or service might be perceived as less valuable if the negative consequences of not using it aren't clearly articulated. And you also miss out on a powerful opportunity to connect with your audience on an emotional level. Highlighting what they stand to lose can be a significant motivator for them to seek a solution.
Which you provide. Right.
Can you give some examples of U.S. companies that effectively leverage this principle of highlighting what's at stake?
Certainly. Security software companies frequently emphasize the significant risks of cyber attacks, data breaches, financial losses that individuals and businesses face if they don't utilize their products.
The fear factor is strong there.
It is, and it's relevant. Insurance companies effectively highlight the potential for devastating financial losses, medical debt, loss of property without adequate coverage.
Peace of mind versus potential disaster.
Exactly. And companies offering health and safety products often focus on the potential dangers, health risks, negative outcomes of not using their solutions, whether it's faulty equipment or neglecting preventative measures. What about companies that don't use this as effectively? What mistakes do they tend to make in this area?
A common mistake is focusing solely on the positive benefits and features of their products or services, without ever addressing the potential pain points, risks, or losses that customers might experience if they don't choose them.
All sunshine, no clouds.
Right. Their marketing can often feel overly optimistic, but lack a real sense of urgency or importance. And sometimes, businesses don't clearly articulate the problems their products solve in terms of what the customer is actively avoiding or mitigating by using them. They focus on the gain without acknowledging the pain of an action.
So for our listeners, how can we effectively highlight what's at stake for our own customers without sounding overly negative or alarmist? That's tricky, right?
It is a balance. The key is to clearly articulate the negative consequences that your customers can realistically avoid by using your products or services. This could be lost time, wasted money, missed opportunities, increased stress, potential health issues, even negative emotional outcomes.
Focus on the avoidable pain.
Frame it carefully and responsibly. Think of it as a fear appeal, but always immediately coupled with your offering as the clear and effective solution. For example, a time management app might highlight the stress, decreased productivity, and missed deadlines that result from poor organization.
We've all felt that.
Subtly positioning their app as the antidote to these negative consequences. The goal is to create awareness of the potential pain points and then offer a reassuring path to avoid them.
Offer the escape route.
Precisely.
That's a really important nuance. Finally, let's talk about the seventh element, the culmination of our hero's journey. Painting the final victory. This is all about showing our hero their desired outcome, the positive resolution they're striving for, right?
Exactly. Every compelling hero in a story has a clear vision of what success looks like. Your brand's narrative needs to vividly paint a picture of what your customer's life will be like after they engage with you and achieve their goals. This is the positive transformation they are seeking, the ultimate resolution to their initial problem. It's about showing them the happily ever after.
The light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, the payoff.
So what are the crucial benefits of clearly and compellingly illustrating this final victory for our customers?
Well, by showing them the positive transformation they can achieve, you create powerful aspiration. You give them something tangible and desirable to strive for, something that resonates with their deepest hopes and goals.
Makes them want it.
It also powerfully reinforces the value of your offering, making the benefits less abstract and more concrete and emotionally resonant in their minds. And ultimately, it closes the loop in your brand's story, providing a clear and satisfying vision of the positive outcome they are working towards, which can be incredibly motivating and inspire them to take that final leap.
The satisfying conclusion. And what are the consequences if we fail to paint this picture? If our customers can't clearly envision the positive end result?
They might lack a clear understanding of the ultimate benefits of your product or service. Without that aspirational picture, their desire to engage and invest may be significantly diminished.
Less motivation.
It can also leave your brand's story feeling incomplete and ultimately less satisfying for the customer. They might not fully grasp the true value you offer or the positive impact you can have on their lives.
Can you give us some examples of U.S. companies that are particularly good at painting this picture of final victory for their customers?
Absolutely. Financial planning services often paint a vivid picture of a secure and comfortable retirement, free from financial worry, allowing them to pursue their passions.
The dream retirement.
Travel agencies excel at showcasing idyllic vacation experiences, tapping into our desires for relaxation, adventure, creating lasting memories.
Selling the escape.
And educational institutions frequently highlight the exciting career opportunities, personal growth, increased earning potential that result from their programs, painting a picture of a brighter and more fulfilling future for their students.
What about companies that miss the mark here? What do they typically fail to do in terms of illustrating that final victory?
They often focus too much on the features and functionalities of their products or services without clearly explaining or visualizing the resulting positive impact on the customer's life.
Features over benefits again.
Yeah. Their websites and marketing materials might lack aspirational imagery or compelling descriptions of the desired outcome. And sometimes brands simply don't connect their offerings to a larger sense of achievement, fulfillment, or overall improvement in the customer's well-being.
So, for our listeners, what are some actionable steps we can take to effectively paint this picture of final victory for our own customers?
The key is to clearly describe and visually represent the positive results and the transformed state your customers will experience after using your products or services. Use vivid and evocative language in your marketing copy that appeals to their senses and emotions.
Make it tangible.
Incorporate compelling visuals like before and after photos, lifestyle imagery, or even short video testimonials that showcase the positive outcome. And most importantly, share detailed customer success stories and testimonials that vividly illustrate the tangible transformations others have achieved.
Joe, don't just tell.
Exactly.
Hmm.
For example, a home organization service might prominently display stunning before and after photos of a decluttered and functional living space, allowing potential customers to easily envision and aspire to their own final victory of a calm and organized home.
Fantastic. So we've taken a comprehensive journey through all 7 elements of the story brand framework. To quickly recap, those are making the customer the hero,
Yeah.
identifying the real conflict,
Internal and external.
positioning yourself as the trusted guide,
Empathy and authority.
providing a clear plan,
The roadmap,
issuing a compelling call to action,
direct and transitional.
highlighting what's at stake,
The fear of loss.
and vividly painting that picture of final victory.
The happily ever after. Exactly. And the underlying principle that ties it all together is this. Your customer is the central figure in their own story. By consistently focusing on their journey, deeply understanding their problems, and clearly illustrating the positive outcome you can help them achieve as their trusted guide, you can craft a message that not only resonates, but also motivates them to take action.
So for our listeners, the real work begins now, doesn't it? Take a critical look at your current messaging through the lens of this framework. Are you truly making your customer the hero of their own story? Are you tapping into those deeper, often unspoken needs and fears? Are you positioning yourself as the empathetic and authoritative guide they need?
And consider the clarity of the path you're offering them, the strength and clarity of your calls to action, how effectively you're highlighting the potential negative consequences of inaction, and how vividly and compellingly you're painting that picture of their ultimate success. These 7 elements, when working in harmony, create a really powerful and persuasive narrative.
And on that note, here's a final thought to really chew on. How profoundly could truly understanding and articulating your customer's desired victory transform not just your marketing efforts, but your entire business approach? What seemingly small but strategic shifts in your communication could create the biggest aha moments for your audience and ultimately foster deeper, more meaningful connections.
It's all about understanding their story and helping them write a successful next chapter. It truly is. Consider that deeply, and we genuinely hope this deep dive into the story brand framework has provided you with some valuable and actionable insights to help you clarify your message and connect more effectively with your audience.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We look forward to our next focused exploration together. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the information overload and get you laser focused on what truly matters.
That's the goal.
And today, that focus is the story brand framework. Those powerful ideas laid out in Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand.
Yeah, think of this as your shortcut, really, to understanding how to make your business message actually stick. The core insight, well, it's this. Your customer isn't just part of the story. They are the hero. And your brand, well, your brand is the trusted guide that helps them on their journey.
Exactly. It's a fundamental shift, isn't it? And over our time together, we're going to explore the 7 key elements of this framework.
7 key pieces.
Right. Our mission is to give you actionable knowledge, to make your message clear and compelling, so when you speak, your customers genuinely listen. We'll be covering becoming your customer's guide,
They're the hero,
uncovering the real conflict they face,
which is crucial.
stepping into the role of trusted advisor, mapping out their path to success, issuing the right invitation, highlighting what's at stake, and finally, painting that picture of their ultimate victory.
That whole arc.
Let's jump right in with that first element, becoming your customer's guide, because they are absolutely the hero. This really flips how a lot of businesses think about their marketing, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. For years, the instinct has been, put your brand in the spotlight, talk about your achievements, your innovations.
Yeah, the look at me approach.
Exactly. But